Hello, my name is Miss Mansker, and today we are going to do our Padlet assignment all about how to create a story. So today we are focusing on our two standards, our AASL standard that says that we can generate products that illustrate our learning. And what we're learning specifically today goes with our 7th grade ELAR TEKS, our 7th standard with the C strand, where we're analyzing plot elements. So what are we actually going to be doing? So today we will learn how to digitally create a new product, proving that we understand the different plot elements or the elements of plot. If you don't remember the elements of plot or you'd like a refresher, you can click on this nice video here. It's kind of a fun song that takes you through all of the different elements of plot, the different parts of your plot diagram, as well as characters and setting, and our different types of conflict. So first, I want you to think about how do you create a story? And create there is in capital letters because that's the verb. It's asking us to do something. So how would you then create a story? And what I'd like for you to do is to answer this in the comments. So you type right here in the comment section. And that will allow for us to have a discussion about how you would create a story because everybody's story can be created a little differently. And if you look at the top here, we have our different headers. And I wanted to still use the vocabulary of our plot elements. So we have the introduction. So this is going to be where we start. Our rising action. So that's going to be what we take up the majority of our time doing today. The nitty-gritty of the story of what we're doing today. So you're going to choose 3 of these, and I'm going to go over these in just a minute. And then we're going to have our resolution. So where we end today, what is the last thing that we will be accomplishing? So for our nitty-gritty, our rising action, you're going to choose to do 3 of these different activities. And there's quite a few different ones, so stick in so that way you can hear all of the different options you have. Our first one here is called Storybird, and you can click on all of these images and it'll take you right to that website. Within Storybird, you have the opportunity to write and then publish your writing for other people to see. And there's actually quite a few different options. You can choose a picture book option, you can choose a comic book option, and you can even choose a poetry option, which I thought was pretty cool. And then you could also do just a regular short story option. Now, the interesting thing about this one is regardless if you decide to publish it or not to make it public, I will need to be able to see it on your computer. So make sure you raise your hand and let me know when you're done so that way I can come look at your short story. Because if you don't, then I will have any way to look at it. So make sure that you let me know when you're finished so that way I can see the completed result. AnyMaker is a digital tool that allows you to make little videos. So what I would want for you to do with this one is go ahead and log in using your school email address and create an animated trailer of your favorite book or movie. But make sure that you include all of the elements of plot that we can again see here in this video and make it a little interesting to watch. But also remember, trailers don't give away all of the spoilers, so you can still have elements of your plot without giving the story away. This one here is called Evocaroo, which is where you can make your short story into a podcast. How fun! So what you would need to do for this one is you would need to write a short story, and then you're going to, record yourself reading this story aloud. Whenever you're done with that, you have to hit the save and share option. And then in the comment right here is where you're going to put the link. So that way I can go back and hear it and maybe share it on other platforms. Google Docs is the next one, which is a good follow-up and pair for Evocaroo because this is one where you can just simply write out your story and make sure that you do some spell check in there so that way you can catch any of your capitalization or punctuation or spelling errors. But this is where you could write your short story and make sure that you include all of your elements of plot. And if you did this one, and then you could just go ahead and do this one as well, since you have to choose 3 different ones, where you're reading it aloud. So Edwardle here is where you would make a word cloud with the vocabulary words that describe what we learned about the elements of plots. So it's going to be all of these words in here, not necessarily the words from your short story. So what are the most important words that you think people should know when they're thinking about the elements of plot? Make sure to include at least 10 different words, and be sure to duplicate ones that you think are most important so they'll show up larger than others. So for example, in this word cloud, we can see that eclipse is rather large. That's because eclipse was mentioned more times than, let's say, the word impact. You see how that one's smaller? That means it was probably only mentioned once or maybe twice, whereas eclipse might have been mentioned somewhere like 6 to 10 times. So make sure for the words that you think are the most important to include in a word cloud about plot and plot elements, that they are duplicated so they show up larger. Coggle is a mind map where you can create your own mind map, and this would be great for somebody who is brainstorming their short story first before they get started. So you could show me your own plot diagram, and in doing that, you could have examples that relate to your favorite book or movie, or like I said, your own story. You get to be creative. So in this mind map, you would take me through the different elements of plot of either, like I said, your favorite book, favorite movie, or even your own short story. GimKit is a gamifying type of situation where you can see in the image here, there's a question that's asked and there's 4 options. So it's a multiple choice question. And in that, whenever the players get the correct answer, there's usually some reward for that. And there's some, goal at the end that'll declare the winner as to whoever's gotten the most points. So what I want you to do is create a GimKit game for your classmates to play that has at least 15 questions about the elements of plot. And for our really good ones, we might just even play them in class. Flipgrid, so here you would click this and go to our flip class. So you'd create a short video of yourself describing the different elements of plot and why they are important to the story. In Google Slides, you can use Google Slides to create like a picture book that has all of the elements of the plot. So each slide would then be a different page of your picture book. So you would need to make sure to also include that front and back cover as well as a title page before going right into your story. And then lastly, you can use your coding skills to create a short animated story with the elements of plot in it, of course, through Scratch. So this is all important that we're doing this together, like we're learning what the plot elements are and we are creating, because when we create our story, we know that we understand the elements of plot better because we're actually having to make them. So our resolution, or the last thing that you'll do today, how we'll wrap today up, is I'll want you to comment below and say, what did you create and how does that prove that you learned about plot? If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks.